to be together live in 2020. You have to love this company and how we pivot for purpose, and we're bringing you this event live to your home. And we are going to be discussing the fundamentals of coaching. And there's a series of this. There's 6 parts of this fundamentals of coaching. And today we're going to share with you, present to clients. But I'm not doing this alone. I have an amazing co-host, Ms. Tiffany Howard, who is also an integrated presidential director. And she's going to be dropping a lot of wisdom. So you guys be prepared to take some copious notes, right? And on top of that notepad that you have, I want you to write action, because none of this matters what you're learning if you don't put it into play. So first, you're going to be hearing this probably throughout these breakout sessions over and over. And here's a hint. If you hear something more than once, it's probably important. So we're talking about the 3 key determinants to success or failure. And these 3 things work independently, right? They work synergistically together. So you may leave this, and you most likely will leave all of these breakout sessions motivated, ready to take action, right, from something that you heard. However, if your mindset, let's say, is blocking you from actually taking that action, then it's all going to be nullified. So we're going to focus on a lot of that today. So as you can see, here are the 6 fundamentals that you're going to hear throughout this event. And there's identify and approach. Now, approach is not to be mistaken for present. The approach is simply to see if there's an interest, and then you set up the call to present the opportunity. And that's what we're going to discuss here today. So again, presenting to client candidates. Now, I want you to understand that there's a lot of soft skills that can go into this, and you will learn that over time, right? But the fundamentals are the fundamentals, right? They don't change. They're simple. They're the base, and they're very duplicable. So without further ado, let's jump on in. You there, Tiffany?
I'm here. I'm excited to be with you guys today. It's an honor, and aren't you so thankful that we get to do this? We might not have gotten to meet in person this year, but at least we get this. And wow, Optavia has pulled out all the stops, so I know that this is going to be an incredible event. So today, like Harold said, we're talking about presenting. And so presentations, there's lots of different ways to do a presentation, and we'll discuss that here in a minute. But you may have heard a lot of different words kind of surrounding this same topic. So you may have heard a health coach say share, or your business coach call it an offer, or an explore, or an interview, or what we like to call a health assessment. And so today we're going to be focusing mainly on the health assessment. So in the best practice, and I know that there's another training on the approach and how to teach how to approach, but in most cases, it's best not to mix the approach with the presentation. So when you're inviting someone to explore this gift, this program, you are wanting to not mix, don't get stuck answering questions when you're approaching them or going down a rabbit hole. Your goal is just to invite them to explore it. And today we're going to talk about that. So like I said a minute ago, there's a lot of different ways that you can share this gift, this program. There's a lot of different health presentations. There's what you may have heard us call trilogies. There's healthy happy hours. When we're able to meet in person, a lot of us do live presentations together. And then again, the health assessment, which is where we're going to focus today. Now let's talk about motivations. So what is in it for them and what is in it for you? So let's talk about them for a minute. Like Harold said, mindset is everything when you go into a health assessment to discuss this with a potential client. And when you go into this, it's knowing that what we have to offer is in their best interest, guys. Do you know that? We have such a gift to offer. It is not just for us. No, we are literally throwing them a life preserver. They have so much more to gain from joining program than you do. Yes, you will make some money. There is nothing wrong with getting paid to provide an incredible service. We come alongside them and help them reach your goals. And then we do get compensated for it. But remember, they are looking for what we have to offer. And then what is in it for you? First, you get to make a difference. Aren't you so thankful? We get to make such a difference in the world. And it also reinforces our decision to be healthy. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you, Harold. But for me, becoming a client and becoming a coach was one of the best things. So it's helping reinforce my decision to be healthy by coaching my friends and family. We are so much more likely to reach our goals as a client by becoming a coach and bringing on other clients. And then also you can build a business. For those of you who really want to do this to build a business, it's a great opportunity. And then of course you can earn some extra money. So guys, remember, we offer predictable transformation. We aren't making money off of them. Know that, right? Sometimes people come into this thinking, oh, I don't want to make money off of them. I don't want them to think I'm trying to get them. But remember, go into this knowing that they have more to gain than you do. Your mindset is everything. For most people, the program is cost neutral. They have to buy food. You're giving them a lifeline. Now they're using that food that they're already buying to change their life. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid to provide an incredible life-changing service.
100%. And exactly. There's nothing wrong with making money, especially what we're offering people, right? We're offering them the possibility to transform their lives. So let's talk a little bit about how we can maximize that. So the first thing that draws my attention, and probably yours, is that 31% that's circled right there. And for me, the way I look at it, so let's talk about mindset. The paradigm shift that I have, the way that I view this may be different than some of you, because how I see this is, if the company is going to pay me 31% to acquire a client and support a client, and they're going to pay me 18% to acquire a client and support a client, why would I not want to make 31% for doing the same work, right? Some of you may see this as, oh, but it's not the same work. It takes a lot more time. Not necessarily. Just starting clients takes the bulk of the time. So once you get them started, once you guide them to the resources, once they become empowered, they become self-empowered, and then it's just rinse and repeat. And then you can max out this compensation plan. As you can see, it can compound very, very fast. So you can see as once you get to helping 50, 60 people, I mean, you could be making $50,000, $60,000 a year and paying it forward and helping people transform their lives. And you also can achieve the max on the rolling consistency bonus, which is also an extra $1,000 every quarter. So again, it only takes 17 clients to reach executive director by volume and to maximize that client coaching income. So why not max it out?
Absolutely. Let's max it out. So let's talk about the presentation and what's the purpose. So the purpose is to find a match. And I think if you will really, again, it goes back to that mindset. If you will go in with that purpose in mind, is there a match? Because a lot of times we want to go in and we want to tell them all the amazing things about the program and how it's going to change their life. But guys, this is not about us giving out info. It is about us having a conversation to see, is what we have to offer a good fit for them? And so you want to get really good at the art of asking questions. You're trying to figure out, what do they need? Is this a good match? And that only happens through a conversation. And knowing that will help get you out of sales mode. And what it will do is it will help you, because you don't have to be an attorney, guys. We're not here to try to plead a case about Optavia. We are trying to listen intently, listen to understand, and then show them that what we have to offer is a good match. Listen more, talk less, right? And the great thing is the health assessment, the printed health assessment that you have access to, it has a great list of questions already built in. So you don't have to figure that out on your own. And then let's talk about how people make a decision. So they make a decision based on emotion and logic. So emotion, maybe your story inspired them, right? Maybe it was a friend or family member. They saw you get healthy. And so emotionally, that excites them. Maybe they saw some before and after pictures. Maybe you've talked to them and you dug down to their why, which is the most important step of a health assessment, to figure out what do they want. And if you can read back to them, wow, Sally, I can see you down 50 pounds. Oh my gosh, I can see you climbing that mountain with your kiddos next year. Then you said you hadn't been able to do that. I can see that. That is emotion, right? But then you want to couple that with logic. So that is when we're going to talk about the how of the program, the credibility, the science behind what we have. If you can couple both of those together and do it well, that's how they make a decision. So we already kind of spoke about this a little bit. There's lots of ways to share optimal health. Again, we're focusing on the health assessment, but there's live in person. Some people meet some people at a coffee shop. Maybe not right now, but when we can meet again, some people meet at a coffee shop. Sometimes maybe you're a new coach and you are doing this with your coach, and we'll talk about in a minute. Maybe you and your coach go to a coffee shop. Maybe you do some get-togethers in your home when you're allowed to. Virtually, some people actually do their health assessments on Zoom. That's always an option. Live webinar events, we have those a lot. Optavia does those all the time. And then of course there's recorded trilogies and webinars and videos, and there's Dr. A's websites. We have so many tools to share this gift. But today we're going to focus on that health assessment. So if you are a new coach, we know that there's a lot of new coaches watching. Welcome to the family, first off. But what's so amazing about our model, we make it simple, guys. You don't have to get good at this before you actually go out and do it. You're going to have on-the-job paid training. So your first 3 to 5 health assessments, you're actually going to do that with your mentor, with your health coach. And so it would look like this. It would be you, your health coach, and your potential client. You're all going to get on a call. You're going to introduce them, and then your coach is going to do all the work while you sit back, take notes, and learn. And so that's the way we find that we learn the best. So you want to make sure and do that with your health coach. And some of you probably have already done that. Now, how should you show up? So this is so important, guys. Your presence, your posture, your perspective, and let's dive into that a little bit. Again, it's mindset. So I always tell new coaches, really you don't just want to be like really busy and then run and jump on a phone call and do a health assessment. Kind of set your surroundings, set your presence. You want to be professional. You want to be open and curious. You want to listen to understand. You want to be present, right? You don't want to have craziness all in the background. Your goal is to build trust. And on your posture, just remember, again, it's not about you. When you get on that health assessment, it's all about them. They have the most to gain. They need us. We don't need them. Don't be crazy and thank them 100 times for getting on the call. I always use that like a doctor. When you go to the doctor's there to help you. The doctor's not going, oh, thank you so much for coming in. I so appreciate that you came into my office today. You're thanking that doctor. So know that, again, go into this posturing that it's for them. And then perspective, expect them to be interested, guys. Go into that call. When I go into my calls, I expect that they're going to be my next client. In fact, I expect they're all going to sign up. Maybe not today, a lot of them today, maybe a month or a year down the road. So go in expecting that, but don't be attached to the outcome, right? If they do, if it's a match, awesome. If it's not a match, that's okay. And just lastly, remember, you will project what you believe. So where your mind is what you're going to project. Your mindset when you go into the call is everything. So before you do that health assessment, kind of mention this, be fully conscious. What do you visualize? What do you expect? What is that outcome that you hope for? What are you anticipating? How do you respond when someone has objections or isn't interested? Have you thought that through? And I know Harold will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. What is your confidence level? I tell everybody, be confident. Guys, you know what? You may not be perfect at this yet. That's okay. Me and Harold had some technical difficulties before this, and we said, if we can do this, anybody can do this. You get good by doing it a lot, but here's what I know. My friend JC, some of you know him, he taught me this a long time ago. Get really good at saying, all I know is it works, right? You know it works, and that's the most important key to this. They're going to buy into your belief and your confidence in the program. All right, so make it about them, not about you. People, Dan Bell says this, people are tuned into YFM. What's in it for me? Guys, that's what they're looking for. So again, when you get on that health assessment, what is in it for them? Make it about them. Take the focus off yourself and put it on them. You want to be empathetic. You want to be autonomy supportive. Listen to what's important to them. Again, you want to be really good at asking questions and talking way less, because my goal is not to convince them of anything. My goal is that they see that they need this by what they're saying, right? I want to awaken that in them, because I can't convince them, but they sure can convince themselves. So listen to what's important and then compliment them. When they're sharing their goals, sometimes it's not easy for them. So I'm saying, wow, I love that you want to lose that 50 pounds to go rock climbing with your kids. I can see you down that 50 pounds rocking that swimsuit and being confident in front of your daughter. Like, I'm complimenting them for those goals. So again, what is in it for them? Our goal is to have such a good understanding of what they want, of their why, that I can read that back to them. So I always say, man, I can hear, I believe I hear what you're saying. You're telling me that you want to, and I'm reading back their why, because that's the most important, is that you fully understand what they want. Because how do you get them to sign up, right? Is you're going to focus on their why, because you want the reasons for them to do the program to be more than the reasons for them not to do it. And if you can awaken that why in them, they will be ready. You want it to be big. So, Harold, what you got?
Absolutely. And there's actually, this should calm everyone down, because there is a sequential flow to all of this when you share, regardless of the presentation. But we're specifically talking about a health assessment. And what you want to understand is that as you go through these things, you do not want to be random. Random doesn't work. Random doesn't look professional. Random doesn't serve the client. Random's not duplicable, right? And random can make you uneasy as well. Now, I have to say, true story, that when I first got involved with this, I looked at this as a template and I was told the same thing. However, being novice and learning as I go, I would be, say, on number 1 or number 2, and then the client would try and take me to number 4 or number 3, right? They want to know how, or asking questions. And then I'd get random, right? And I'd bounce all the way around, and the conversation or the call didn't end up the way that I had expected. So the way around that is very simple. Just learn to redirect. Remember, he or she who asks the questions is in control. So when someone would take me from when I'm on number 2 to number 3 or 4, I just would redirect them. Tiffany, that's a great question. I'm actually going to get to that next. But first, I'd like to ask you, boom, boom, boom. That's how it goes. So one, you'll learn how to opening comments, then you're going to move into the awakening. You're going to write right into the how, ask any questions that they may have, right, and answer. And then you're going to invite them to begin and establish the next steps. And in between there's going to be some things. Now, realize right there, after the introduction and the awaken, that doesn't say 90 minutes of your story. It's 90 seconds of your story. It's just a brief little overview, because remember, it's not about you, it's about them. And then you're going to go over those daily routines and habits, and there's some power in that we'll touch on in a second that's important for actually the end of the call, if you're really strategic about it and you're actually listening. And then there's the health considerations. We want to gather that information, match the program to goals, and moving through that sequential process. So first things first, let's overview the opening comments. Now, for those of you, and many of you who are on here, you're probably new. So you want to utilize what Tiffany talked about earlier, the apprenticeship model, right? That team coaching model. So when you do this and you have them on a 3-way call, the most awkward thing that can happen is if you get your mentor or your coach on a call with your friend or whoever it may be one interested in program, is to not say anything. You have to connect the dots. Say a few nice things about your coach, edify them on why they're even on there. Say a few nice things about your friends. Make a proper introduction. And then the main thing also is to confirm the purpose of the meeting. So this is a great, you guys can take a snapshot of this right here. It's a phenomenal way. It's great speaking with you today, and I'm excited that you were interested in learning more about OptaVia. So you're confirming why they're there. You want to learn more about OptaVia, very important. Don't discount these little nuances. But before we can determine if one of our programs is right for you, again, you're qualifying them. So you're in a more postured position, as opposed to saying, man, I hope that you're going to join. No. Let's see if this is the right fit for you. And then you're asking permission, can I ask you a few questions to learn more about you and your health goals? And then you're going to move on to the awaken and explore. That first part shouldn't take much time, right? 3 to 5 minutes, I'd say in general. Remember, he or she who asks the questions controls the conversation, so you want to move right on. So this is where, in my opinion, you're probably going to spend a lot of your time, right? Because you want to be interested in them. You want them to know that they were heard, right? So you're going to ask a series of questions throughout the conversation to really get to know what ticks. And you don't want to take surface answers, right? What I mean by that, for instance, if you're asking someone, Why do they want to be on this call? What are their expectations? What are they looking to get out of this? And they just throw out, hey, I want to get healthy. And you just check and move on. You're doing them a disservice. So you really want to dig. You want to peel that proverbial onion and really get down to the layers. And as you ask questions and you pause and give them space, you can have an amazing conversation with people because they're not used to someone actually being interested in what they're going to say when they ask a question. So it can be a beautiful experience as you get comfortable and you just learn to be confident and postured. So for instance, if you were to ask someone, what would they like to get out of this program? They said, just to get healthy. You can say, well, you mind expanding on what that looks like? It can look different to different people. And they might say, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. Well, why 50 pounds? You might have asked why 50 pounds? Why that? You seem so, direct with that number. What's significant about that number? And then you see how you start to peel the young in there, and then you get to where, all right, so Tiffany, you're down 50 pounds. What's different? You wake up in the morning, you put your feet on the ground, you stand up 50 pounds lighter, you walk into the bathroom, or you walk into the kitchen, or you walk outside. What is different? That's really getting down on a visceral level of what's making people tick. And that's a different conversation that they're not used to having, I promise you. So if you're not spending that time, I encourage you, and we're going to help you with some of those questions that you can ask. And then you want to get their daily habits and routines. Very important. And why this is so important is because each one of these can set you up for the end when you do invite them. I call this overcoming objections before they become objections. So I'm doing some reconnaissance work here. So what do I mean by that? So when you're asking them if they're getting enough sleep, or you're asking them if they're eating hydration, right? What are they doing? I'm taking notes. Oh, they eat out once a day. Oh, they go to Starbucks once a week. Oh, they have a gym membership. I'm collecting how much they're spending on getting the lack of results that they're getting right now. And it's going to set me up, or it'll set you up rather perfectly at the end of the call. So don't discount that. I'm going to show you how you'll use that at the end. So what we're offering clients, so I just want to be clear. Remember, it's all up here. It's not the mindset. We're not offering someone a diet. So if you're going into a call thinking that subconsciously or whatever, you're going to project that at people. So you want to be very aware that you're offering a comprehensive program for optimal health.
All right, so we're going to talk about the share piece. So now that you have done the introduction, you've awakened them, you've shared a little of your story, and you've talked about those daily habits that Harold was mentioning, now we're going to go into the share. And honestly, guys, this should be the shortest portion, other than the introduction, of the entire thing. Again, you listen more, you talk less. So in the share, sometimes as a newer coach, we get so excited about this and we want to share everything with them because they don't need everything. We don't want to overwhelm them. We want to show them honestly how amazing this program is, but how simple it is, right? They'll learn a lot as they go. So when you get started, I always want to, again, read back what I know that they've shared with me. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I just really hear you saying you want, and I'm reading back those whys, and that's how you know you've done a really good job if you can paint the picture of the life they'll have when they reach those goals. And so I paint that back to them and I say, I actually see that we could definitely help you reach your goals. Man, I could see you down, quite a few pounds in just a few weeks on the program. I know that we can partner together. And you know what? Can I take a few minutes to share with you how I see that being possible? And they're going to say, yes, I'm getting their permission. And then we're going to talk a little bit about who we are. And I love to tell them, you know what? We are an optimal health company. This is not just about weight loss, because we know a lot of people come to us for weight, but if you've been doing this a while, you know we teach lifelong transformation, right? So I tell them, we pick up where other diets off. We are so different. We want to talk about our track record, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Then we're going to cover the 4 components and then the program that we're going to put them on, and we're showing them how this will be a great fit for them. So let's talk about our story for a minute. So you know what? I love to share with people the credibility of our program and our story and our track record. For you, that might not matter. I know that for me, in the beginning, I didn't think that mattered. I knew that the program worked. And so I was excited about that. But know your audience, because guys, we have such an incredible program and we have a track record and credibility that honestly other people do not have. And so it's good for you to arm yourself with this knowledge to be able to use it when it really does matter, because there's a lot of people out there that it matters. And so if I have a client that maybe is struggling with diabetes, or they have a lot of health concerns, or maybe they're on a lot of medications, or they're followed by a doctor, I love to share about Dr. Anderson. And I love to share that he was, board certified critical care surgeon, that he left medicine to create lifelong transformation. I want people to know also that Dr. A is a New York Times best-selling author. We are a New York Stock Exchange traded company. We're very, we were voted Forbes magazine one of the most trustworthy companies. So it's good to arm yourself with that knowledge in case it really fits with the potential client that you're talking about. So then let's talk about the 4 components. So with the 4 components, this is the order I like to go in. I love to start with the coach, and I tell them, what makes our program different is we're not just going to focus on food. We actually have an amazing 4-component program, and each component actually makes up 25% of chance of your success. So all 4 components will make up 100% of your success. And so the first being that they get a health coach, right? They just get someone to walk this road with them. And I just tell them, we're just a guide, but we're here to ask questions, hold you accountable, to answer questions for you. We've been there, we've walked this journey, so we're here to partner alongside of you. And then I love to talk about our community. You know what? People are like the people that they hang out with. So we're going to put them in an incredible community. We have so many different ways. We have in-person events. We have social media pages. We have an incredible community that you're going to surround yourself with. We even do webinars and fun get-togethers because, again, we know you become who you surround yourself with. And then we're going to focus on your mind. So we know that most people struggle with their weight, not because of what they eat, but because of what's between these 2 ears, right? Their mind. And so we're going to focus on those behaviors that maybe got them where they are. We're going to teach them new behaviors that are really going to transform their body from the inside out. And I tell them, then let's talk about the nutritional component of our program, our structured eating plan. So I love to tell them, most people will start on 5 and 1. Not everyone. There's a few different circumstances. Maybe someone's a diabetic or a senior. Maybe they have some other health issues. Maybe they're really big into fitness. There are some other plans, but I would say that most of our clients start on the 5 and 1 program. And how do you know who gets started on what? Well, you're going to learn that when you do those training calls with your health coach in the beginning. You'll learn how to know the difference. But then I tell the client, let's talk about our structured eating plan. We're going to make it so simple, so goof-proof in the beginning, because we want to make it so easy because you're focusing on that overall transformation, focusing on that mind. And then I tell them, I talk them through eating 6 times a day. 5 of those meals are going to come from us. They all have the same nutritional footprint. Only 1 meal a day they're going to have to make. And I tell them, we make that so simple. We have recipes for you. We have a guide. You can even eat out. I let them know that there's a restaurant guide and that we're just going to walk them step by step. And then what I love to do at the very end of that is I love to tell them we are different. Again, we pick up where other diets leave off. So when you get to the end of your weight loss journey, it's not over. It's really just the beginning. Now we're not just going to throw you back out in the world. We are going to walk you through a transition and slowly increase your calories up to the caloric intake to fit your lifestyle. And we have a full maintenance plan to help you be successful for life. But because you've learned all those new habits, now you're equipped with the tools to keep this weight off for life.
Awesome. I got a little ahead of myself there. Perfect. So then you're going to get to the point of asking questions. So you see, we're not randomly going through this. We're going and staying in flow. And this is the part where you just did a lot of work, right? You just did a lot of work digging to get their why, relating to them, showing them what's possible and the how. And this is pretty simple. So you guys can take a few snapshots of this, but, a few questions you can ask is, what did you like about what I shared with you? Now, what's powerful about this is what you don't want to say is, what do you think? And the reason behind that is because Tiffany shared about how 2 things, emotion and logic. Well, you spent a lot of time in step 2, hopefully, getting into the emotions of it, into the why of it, right? You tapped into that part of the brain. And you want to stay in that part of the brain because the other part of the brain, the analytical part, starts to get into that stinking thinking, starts to get them self-doubting themselves. We don't want to kick them back in. So when you ask them, what do you think? It can kick them back into that thought process. So never say that, just ask, what do they like? You always want to ask questions that solicit a positive response, if you will. And another one is how do you see this program helping you to reach your health goals? Again, stay positive. And as Tiffany said, give compliments on them making a decision, because this can be hard for people, and this can be a big step for them. So always compliment them just to make them feel good. Invite them to begin. You did 95% of the work, guys. 95% of the work, and for some of you, this is where you freeze up. Why, I do not know, because you went into this call with the anticipation that you hope that they begin, right? So invite them to begin. So here's some great ways to do this. You don't have to overcomplicate it, but I like to repeat their whys back in there. So basically, I would say something like, hey, you know what, Tiffany, from listening to what you shared with me and your goals of X, Y, and Z, I want to repeat those back to them, let them know that I heard them, right? I heard what they wanted. I believe this would be a good match. So are you ready to get started, or do you have any questions? Now, no, I didn't read that word for word. That's typically what I say, but these are perfect. And you can even go shorter than that and just say, hey, I think this is a great fit for you. Are you ready to get started, or do you have any questions? Boom, pretty simple. All right, so we're not going to spend a lot of time here because they're a great resource on overcoming objections and different things like that already exist, but I'm going to address real quick. Understand that questions, objections, and concerns, what they tell us, I welcome them. You know why? Because if they don't come up, they're not interested at all. The fact that they actually ask questions is a good thing, okay? So be patient and listen. Don't get defensive. They're just looking for more knowledge. They're looking for more information. Repeat and clarify to make sure you understand what you're trying to answer. And then use feel, felt, and found. And use it authentically. Like if someone says that they don't like, they're questioning the taste of the food. If I never had a problem with food, I'm not going to say, hey, I felt the same way. I'm going to use that third-party credibility and say, hey, you know what? I feel what you're saying. I've also had a client who felt the same way on her journey to lose that 50 pounds. But what she found was that she actually liked most of the things, and she actually found that her taste buds changed throughout the program. So definitely use a third-party credibility there. And then revisit their why often. You saw how I worked that in there when I was asking questions. And don't try and never try and convince someone, because if you try and convince them to do it, you're going to have to convince them to actually do the program, okay? And then ultimately just relax, be calm, don't be attached, think and be creative. Now, cost, this is going to come up. It's inevitable. When you go to buy things, do not ask for the cost. So don't be scared of this. This is great. So looping back, all right, looping back when I was saying about how important it is to identify where they're spending money on food costs, Starbucks, gym memberships, and that. If you're taking copious notes, this can be used in your advantage to help contend for them and their why, right? Because self-doubt can start to kick in. We're contending for their why here. So if I'm looking at the numbers and I see that they're probably spending more money to get the results they're currently getting, then I'm going to say, hey, Tiffany, you know what? You're going to be excited because I'm excited for you, because you're actually going to save money by doing this program to get your results of X, Y, and Z. You saw how I worked those Y's back in there again. Now, if I see that the price looks like it's going to fall about the same, then I might say, hey, you know what? You're going to be excited about this, Tiffany, because it looks like it's going to be cost neutral for you, but you're going to get your goals of X, Y, and Z. And you see how I keep repeating those goals back to them. So the next step as we're landing this plane is two things. If they say yes, you're going to help them facilitate that order. You're not going to send them to a website where they can get lost, maybe order the wrong program, maybe not get the appropriate discounts that they should receive. And then if it's a not yet, not a big deal. Not a big deal, because the point of the health assessment is not necessarily to have them set up. It's just to build a relationship, make them aware of what's possible, and then ask if you can follow up. Ask permission if you can follow up with them, stay connected, send them updates, check on them.
Yeah, I love it. And the last thing is you want to give clarity and expectations on what the next step is. So when you order their program, if they decide to get started with you, and go into it believing that, right? But when they order that program, let them know, hey, you'll be getting an email from the company when your order ships. I let them know I'm going to be sending you some stuff over the next few days to get you started. But make sure you let me know when your program arrives, because we're going to talk you through this the night before you get started. So I tell them to let me know when their program arrives. And then if they're not ready yet, maybe they need to talk to a spouse or whatever it is, I go ahead and schedule follow-up right there on that call. So I'm like, great, I totally understand you want to speak with your husband about this. Do you mind if I call you in 2 days? And I'll go ahead and set up that follow-up. Or maybe they say, hey, I would love to get started on Friday when I get paid, Friday the 15th when I get paid. I'll say, awesome, I'll give you a call Friday the 15th. How does that sound? And I put it on my calendar. So I hope this was beneficial to you. It's been an honor to get to do this with my amazing friend Harold. And what I encourage you, there's so many resources out there, like Harold mentioned. Reach out to your mentor after you watch this and ask them, hey, where do I get more resources on this topic? Have a great day, guys.
Awesome.